Hello, everyone. So, yesterday, when I finished teaching my first set of classes back with Cambly, I left my teaching area and went to go wake up my high schooler because he should have been awake and getting ready for school at that point. At which point, he reminded me that schools had been canceled that day because of the ice on the roads and the cold weather. I'd forgotten all about that. So, I let all three of my kids sleep and I had my breakfast. They were still asleep, so I decided to go ahead and jump on to a priority hour. I wanted to get a feel for teaching adults again. I hadn't done it in a while, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to open up my Cambly calendar for adults as well or just stick to what I know well, which is kids. I remember I enjoyed it in the past, but I also remembered sometimes it could be a little awkward. So I wanted to try it out. Well, I jumped on for one priority hour and it went really good. Funny thing is, my very first phone call, you have to answer any phone call that comes in when you sign up for priority hour. And so my very first phone call ended up being a child. It was a sweet 7-year old and her little 4-year old brother and mom. Unfortunately, I could not see them. Their camera was black and they apologized to me and told me they weren't sure how to fix it. And I could hear them clearly though. So I told them it's okay as long as I can hear you, we'll be okay. So at first, I started engaging the 7-year old in conversation just to get an idea okay, what level is this child at? And then I pulled up an Engu children's curriculum list. They have it online and I was looking and I was like, for example, I saw a thing on weather. And so I asked her, how's the weather where you live today? And she told me, and so I was like, okay, she knows weather. I asked her what she ate today. There was a lesson on food. So on and so forth. I was using that list to help guide me on what we should talk about. Well, finally, I asked her some questions on toys and she wasn't too sure. So I chose a lesson about toys on Engu, which turned out to be a perfect choice because it also apparently engaged the 4-year old who I could hear was in the background repeating everything we were saying. So I would sometimes, even though the lesson was with the 7-year old, I would use the little brother's name as part of the questions and replies when we were talking about toys. So that was a fun way to get the little brother involved as well, while still maintaining the 7-year old as the main student who was doing most of the talking. So that was my first phone call, and I was like, of course, a kid called me. And then after that, a woman called me, and she was in Taiwan, and she wanted to just practice her English. She had been studying English for 10 years. Her husband and her child do not speak English, and she's home all day, and she just wants to keep it up. So she just said, no lesson, please. I just want to practice my English. And I said, okay, great. So she has really great English. I was really impressed. She actually started learning English later in life. And the way she speaks was grammatically correct. Her pronunciation was so clear. We had a lovely conversation about food, the way she prepares it, the way I prepare it. We both shared Google pictures with each other about the foods that we were talking about. And then at the very end, she had a little dog pop up on camera, and I have a little dog as well. And so we ended talking about the Dog Whisperer, the TV show, and dog training. And so it was just a lovely, lovely time. By the time I was done talking to her, I had, I believe, like 7 minutes left on my priority hours. So I went ahead and I hit the 5 minute um, take a break button and took a little 5 minute break. And then I came back and there was like 1 minute left. And so I was like, please, nobody call me in this next minute. That way my priority hour can be done because I needed to go out, get the kids up at that point, and get breakfast going. And so, wouldn't you know it, right as soon as my priority hour hit the 0 0 second mark, like I was on the hour, it started ringing. And I questioned myself. I was like, does Cambly count that against me if I don't answer? I'm like right at the hour with 0 0 seconds. Should I answer? Should I not? And as I was going back and forth, it stopped ringing. So I think the person just hung up. So I was waiting to see if I was going to get an email about that, which I didn't. So now I know. As soon as you hit that hour on the 00 second, you're good to go. The reason I questioned it was because when you have a student who shows up late to class on Cambly, you are required to wait 10 minutes. Then, for your own sake, take a screenshot with the time showing, and then you don't have to answer if they call after 10 minutes. The majority of the Cambly community agrees when we talk in our group that the safest bet so that you don't get dinged by Cambly is to actually wait until you're at minute 11, because some tutors have had the unfortunate incident where a student has called like at 10 minutes and 30 seconds and they didn't answer because they were past the 10-minute mark. Well, because their clock still showed that time, like 10:10 instead of 10:11, they received the warning email from Cambly. Please pick up when your student calls, so on and so forth. And so they've all agreed in unison, and I've taken this advice. Wait until the 11th minute, take a screenshot, and then you can go. And so that's why I was questioning on that priority hour if it was the same idea, but it doesn't seem to be. So I'm glad, and I'm sharing that with all of you as well.